All of my wife and I's 5-star rated books are available to order right now on our website at I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink.com or Amazon Prime or anywhere else books are sold. When you get your copies in the mail, take a picture of it and tag me in it at I'mJustHereToMakeYouThink on Instagram or TikTok, because I'll be looking forward to reposting the best pictures. Wado, thank you all for your continued support. We appreciate you. Oseo free thinkers, Oseo Niji, Osikachu, how are you? I hope you all are doing fantastic and may you all have blessed and prosperous days ahead. It's your favorite teacher and educator back again with a brand new video. Oh, and allow me to introduce a brand new series to the channel here called Warm-Ups. No, not that type of warm-up. Yeah, but nah, not that type of warm-up either. Ah, there it is. That's what I'm referring to, also known as brainstorming. You may recall these types of discussions during your school days, except I wasn't your teacher. So of course I'll make it entertaining and educational simultaneously, all right? Now, if you don't have a pen or pencil and a sheet of paper handy, don't worry about it. I just require every one of you to have an open mind when joining the classroom. So let's get started by informing you that you will be asked a particular question, which will be today's warm-up, and I will provide you some details concerning this topic so that you may discuss this amongst your peers and even the live chat or fellow viewers in the comment section of this video. Keep in mind that I will be providing even more details concerning this topic in a planned documentary style video that I will produce and premiere on this channel soon. Be sure to subscribe to this channel so you won't miss it. Now, get ready to have an open mind with today's warm-up. Was the Civil War story we were told a lie? Now, what I'm about to do is provide some information that could assist you with answering this question. I assume that many of you may be aware of the story that we were told surrounding the Civil War that took place in America beginning in 1861 and coming to a close in 1865. When the Confederate troops allegedly surrendered to the Union. Now, I'm saying allegedly because I would like for you all to question everything that you were ever told about this story and come to your conclusions after I share a little bit of information that you may be unaware of. Mind you that I'll be sharing more details about this in a later video, so there are no right or wrong answers here at this time. My focus is on making you think about those things that you were told were truthful and accurate and labeled as official American history. Now, according to what we were told about the cause of the Civil War, it was said that the Southerners wanted slavery to continue while the Northerners wanted to emancipate all enslaved people, and that this disagreement led to both sides wanting to harm each other. But what isn't so clear is who exactly agreed and disagreed with this alleged reason as to why war can be the only possible answer to resolve their differences. Who had the means and the capability to manipulate the public to choose a side? And why was it so important for the Union States of America to retrieve the 11 Confederate States of America that seceded from the Union? And by the way, did you know that it was more than 11 states that seceded from the Union? More about that in a second, but first, let's go over the states that were allegedly involved on both sides. The Union states were Maine, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kansas, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, California, Nevada, and Oregon, making it a total of 20 Union states. And the Confederate states were Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, which brings the total to 11 Confederate states. But what you may be unaware of are the so-called border states, and if they joined the Confederate States or stayed with the Union. These so-called border states were Kentucky, Missouri, West Virginia, Delaware, and Maryland. According to the Britannica Encyclopedia, there were also strong secession movements in the border states of Maryland, Kentucky, and Missouri. In Kentucky, a meeting of delegates declared that state out of the Union. And in Missouri, a fragment of the legislature passed a secession ordinance. Kentucky and Missouri were admitted to the newly established Confederate States of America, bringing the total of breakaway states to 13. But the action of both states was irregular. End quote. Okay, so now you are aware that it was a total of 13 states and not 11 that left the Union and joined the Confederate States of America, which leaves the so-called border states of Maryland, Delaware, and West Virginia. Even though Maryland did not officially secede from the Union, Maryland was not a free state. It was a slave state. So, do you think they wanted to emancipate the enslaved people of Maryland? Now, Delaware remained neutral, and West Virginia was a direct creation of the Civil War when Union troops gained control over Western Virginia and forced a proposition of West Virginia to become an official free state under Union control in 1863, bringing the official total of Union states to 22 and not 23, as some may claim that Maryland fought on the side of the Union when Maryland was known as a slave state during this time and did not immediately emancipate their slaves when Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was posted on January 1st, 1863. So now that's 22 Union states versus 13 Confederate states, which will lead you to believe that the Confederate States were outnumbered in the population count of their troops. But if the Confederate Army was outnumbered by the Union Army, would they have gone about causing a war to erupt in the first place? This isn't some war hero fictional movie. This was real life taking place. Why would anyone attempt to cause a war with someone when they are outnumbered, outgunned, or even outclassed by the opposition? Yes, people would go out and die for a cause, but what's the point of going out to die for that cause if it wouldn't be anyone left to pass the torch to? Did you know that the majority of the original U.S. Army resigned and joined the Confederate Army instead? Now, I'm sure there's a bunch of stories floating around about the number of troops that left the Union Army to join the Confederate Army, and they will try to make it seem as if Abraham Lincoln wasn't struggling to find or garner new troops to join his army of the Union. Okay, now listen, when the Confederate Army was established, there was a drastic shortage of troops with the Union Army, to the point where Abraham Lincoln was forced to ask Congress to garner non-military trained volunteers to join his army and fight on the side of the Union. The majority of these volunteers that enlisted in the Union Army were immigrants from France and Germany that recently migrated to places like New York and Pennsylvania, for example, looking for hot meals and a steady income. And again, these people were not trained in any fashion in military combat. The majority of the troops that joined the Confederate Army were professionally trained and combat ready, from well-respected and experienced generals to high-ranking officers. The Confederate Army was the original U.S. Army, to put it in plain terms. So how did the Union win if the Army fought on the side of the Confederate States of America? Did you know that the President of the Confederate States of America, by the name Jefferson Davis, was not only previously a part of the House of Representatives in Congress, a colonel in command during the Mexican-American War, and even the Secretary of War under then-President Franklin Pierce in 1853, but he was also a member of the pro-slavery party called the Democrats. Now, at this time, the Democrats were pro-slavery, and since we were told that the Union won the Civil War and that President Abraham Lincoln restored order to the Union, why would an anti-slavery Republican president have a vice president named Andrew Johnson, who was a pro-slavery Democrat? Did the Union win the Civil War, or did the Confederate States compromise and unite with the opposing states to incorporate all agendas of those sitting on both sides of the table?
I'm just here to make you think.